Welcome back to Cosmetics Anonymous. I am your favorite new mama, Bougie Vintage, and today's video is Love and Hip Hop. I went to see Incredibles 2 today, okay? So, ain't no makeup tutorial. We're just gonna get right into it. I'm so freaking tired right now, and I'm gonna try to film this before Miss Say gets up, because it is 11 o'clock p.m. and we are way behind schedule, okay? So the episode starts with the bonfire and Estelita and Sierra are arguing. Sean is kind of interjecting and he tells them that they need to kind of respect each other. And Estelita is telling Sierra she ain't about that life. And Sierra confirms that she is not about that life. She said, I am a businesswoman. This is not back in the day when I was younger. I surely would have been about that life. Basically telling Estelita if she wasn't established, she would whoop that ass. Because Sierra says this, they basically stop arguing and the focus shifts. I look super cozy. So of course, Miss Rashida starts talking and she starts talking about her and Kirk's struggles, talking about how they have real life problems, brings up the fact that his mother died. So once again, they're using his mother passing as an excuse to be together. Like, you guys are pathetic. They say that they put the shit aside so they could deal with what really matters. And I just rolled my eyes the entire time they were talking. Like, I was just like, this is so disgusting. Like, I'll be damned if my mom were to pass and I'm using her as an excuse for something. It's the same with Carly Red using her dad. Like, just stop. And of course, Miss Mimi was in her confessional co-signing everything Rashida was saying. I guess everybody just wants to see Kirk and Rashida win as a couple, but like, let's be real here. He a dirty dog, she a dumb bitch. They basically go together like white on rice, so I don't even know why we bothered with them, but whatever. But beyond that, BK starts apologizing to Estelita because he felt like he shouldn't have been in women business, which he should not have been. So I guess he forgot, like Spice forgot how she was being disrespectful because Estelita was saying, well, you was calling me all kinds of bitches and hoes and whatever. And he's like, he didn't say that. He said that he never said bitch. He said I might have said something else, but I definitely didn't say that. And I was like, I think you did, sir. And of course, VH1 pulled the clip back and showed us exactly what he said. And he definitely did use the word bitch in a sentence in reference to Estelita. In confessional, Estelita's talking about how BK's gonna get his because when she gets back to town, she's gonna tell Stevie ain't doing nothing for you, honey. Stevie don't respect you. He might try to fight BK, you know, but I highly doubt it. So then, of course, it's Spice's turn to speak. She apologizes to everyone and says that she's going to try for the rest of the trip to be on her best behavior. So there was that situation. Her and Tokyo already squashed whatever they had in the previous episode. And last but not least, Erica is putting in her 2 cents in this scene, and she's basically saying they all come from different areas and different backgrounds and they need to learn to respect one another. You can't argue with that statement, but this is coming from Erica, who had zero respect for Just Beneath Me, as she likes to call Just Brittany. So I mean, don't be a hypocrite, bitch. Of course, VH1 is super dramatic and they played sci-fi music as this message popped up on the screen. So Tommy gets out of the production van, production Uber, and then more stuff pops up on the scene as this sci-fi music played. I felt like I was watching a damn episode of CSI. It was actually ridiculous. She ends up meeting with a man named Joe. Joe is a substance abuse counselor, I believe. He starts by laying down I hate statistic. I hate this word. He starts by laying down a statistic for her about the amount of people that die every year from alcoholism. And she says that she knows because her family suffers with alcoholism. It runs deep in her family. She said that she drinks to become more sociable. And when she said that, I said, I can relate to that, honey. But if you are drinking to be more sociable, you know when your cutoff is. You know, you might only need 2 drinks to become a little bit more sociable. But if you are getting into 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 drinks, and by the time the night's done, you done beat up 4 people, you told the police to fuck you. Like, if that's what happens when you drink, then you might have a problem, but we're gonna get into that. So Joe asked her, what else does drinking do for you? And right when he said this, Tommy started to cry. A tear just and just started falling down her face. So then she starts telling him that it helps her cope with a lot of things. And you ain't really gonna start crying unless something struck a nerve. So he definitely struck a nerve with that question. And it was just a really simple question that required an honest answer. But if you're feeling triggered, you're gonna cry, you know? So she was saying she doesn't have support from anybody in her family, and it's just a lot to deal with. And that's one of the reasons she drinks as well. And so I'm watching this scene and I'm like, this is the first time I feel like Tommy was owning her shit, because she was saying it's her issues with her mom, and she's talking to this counselor. She doesn't have an attitude. She's just, you know, being real with the counselor and telling him why she drinks. And I was just like, wow, like I was impressed, bitch, but not for long. Okay, so of course Joe tells her, look, it's not a good look for you, it's not a good look for the show, it's not a good look for anybody with you carrying on this way when you drink, because obviously Tommy has been very violent when it comes to drinking on set. Tommy agrees with him, and so at this point I'm still like team Tommy. Like, you know, I'm like, okay, wow, she's actually gonna take the help that's offered to her. And then she starts talking about how she's not a violent person, it's just that when she drinks hard liquor, that's kind of when it comes out, because Tommy has always said she's a wine girl. So when she's drinking Hennessy, the devil come out of her, child. And I guess she just can't hold hard liquor. And a lot of people are like that. They could drink wine and be fine. They could drink beer and be fine. But it's certain liquors that trigger certain emotions out of them and cause them to act out of character. And so when she started talking about this, I was like, okay, never mind. This bitch is still in denial. She is still in denial, because we've seen Tommy just have wine and still act crazy, and then we've seen Tommy drink hard liquor and act crazy. I feel like Tommy's the type of person that'll drink anything that's in front of her, and so when she starts drinking the wine, that's when she's mellow at first, and then she has one glass too many, and then she starts drinking the hard stuff, and then after that, it's a wrap. So Joe tells her the production decided that there is no more drinking on the show for you. You're not allowed to indulge anymore. And he asked her how that makes her feel, and she said no comment. And you could see on her face that she was not impressed by this. In Tommy's mind, she thinks that she can drink conservatively. She feels like she can control and handle any type of alcohol that's given to her. Anyway, she starts talking about how even though she has so many problems with her mom, she doesn't want to disappoint her mom. And this whole entire time Tommy's talking, she's crying her eyes out. So after listening to her speak, Joe says, can I level with you? And she says, of course, sure, go ahead. He says, I think you have a drinking problem. And I was like, Tommy, we all think you got a damn drinking problem. Like, it is what it is. Like, we can only draw that conclusion with what we're given. And clearly you've done enough on this show for them to have enough footage to make it look like you are an alcoholic. And because it runs in her family, it's evident that she is suffering with alcoholism. Even if it is a mild condition of alcoholism, she's still suffering with it. And alcoholism is something that can escalate. So it doesn't really matter if she has a mild condition, a medium condition, or an extreme condition. The fact of the matter is she has an issue with drinking alcohol, and it is affecting her livelihood. So Joe continues and he tells her, I think it's going to plague you. And so of course when he tells her this, she's on the defense and she says, you don't know anything and I'm gonna prove you wrong. And he says, okay, do you, boo-boo. Okay, do you. After I watched that scene, I was just shaking my head because I'm like, come on, girl. Like, we are all rooting for you. Like, we're literally all rooting for you. And Tommy's in confessional talking about how VH1 has made it or made everybody believe that she has a drinking problem. No, bitch. You have a drinking problem. It is what it is. Deal with it. If alcoholism didn't run in her family, we might be able to believe her. If every time we saw Tommy on screen, she wasn't drunk, we might believe her because we've seen her sober and how she acts, and we've seen her drunk and how she acts, and you can always tell the difference. Like the scene with Spice at the video shoot, you could tell Tommy was fucking plastered. When she was at Rashida's little gathering thing, you could tell Tommy was, you know, going through it that day and drinking quite a bit. And if at all you start to use alcohol or any sort of medicine to deal with your everyday problems, that's when you know it's a problem for you. Anyway, back at the ranch, it is time to ride horses. So the instructor tells the girls and the guys how to ride. He's taking his time. He's telling them, don't put your foot like this, put your foot like this, because if you do put your foot like this and for whatever reason you end up flying off the horse, your foot is going to be caught. The horse is going to be dragging you behind. You're probably going to die, okay? Tokyo actually had stayed back at the ranch to cook dinner because remember she said she wasn't going to ride the horses. I was looking at the food like, what is going on here? What the fuck what are they making? Erica comes into the kitchen to talk to Tokyo. I guess Erica didn't want to ride horses either. And Tokyo starts opening up to Erica about how she had to fight so long to become the person she is today. The person that doesn't fight, the person that isn't angry, the person that is more mature. And so because she had to fight for so long to become a better person, and she doesn't want to be in trouble with the law and all this, she finds it very frustrating when people try to rattle her spirit, and that's exactly the word she used. When she was talking about this, I was like, I understand that, but this is a part of change. When you are trying to change and you're trying to become a better person, that's when people want to test you. That's when your spirit will be rattled because we want to see, not we, but you know, we. They want to see how changed you really are. Sometimes it's God testing you and he's throwing stuff at you to show you how far you've come, because there might have been a time where it was no long talking, because at that table with her and Spice that day, it was long talking. There might have been a time where Tokyo didn't even let somebody finish a sentence. After that first jab Spice took, she would have been across the table choking the bitch out, but because she's so changed and tried to mature and everything like that, she allowed Spice to have more than one jab before she reacted. And it's still bad, but at least the growth is there, you know? When you are changing or when you are trying to change, you're always going to be tested in or throughout that process to see how far you've come and if you've actually really changed or if you pretended. So Tokyo also starts talking about how she's a virgin and stuff, and Erica commends her on that because you don't hear of that very often. And y'all know me on this channel, I'm always trying to tell you guys, keep your virginities, okay? Don't lose it at 16 like I said. But it is what it is. And then she started to open up a little bit more, or just scratch the surface, about why she's a virgin. And it's because she has a lot of suppressed emotions and bottled up emotions about things that happened in her childhood. So she kept saying stuff about her childhood, and it was evident at this point that somebody had sexually abused her. And so Tokyo said this, and when she said it, I almost wanted to cry. She said, you know, sometimes she's around men and they creep her out. And when she said that, I was like, same sis. Like, I'm not even gonna talk about it on here, but I feel the exact same way. There's sometimes I just get the heebie fucking jeebies, like, oh my gosh, and I can't even deal with it. But it's just certain men that give you the creeps, you know? Not every man, but certain men. And so that makes it hard for Tokyo to even lose her virginity, or to even become sexually active with somebody. And so Erica wants Tokyo to start talking about it. So Erica starts opening up to Tokyo too, and she says, I've been that girl, I've been sexually abused, I've been, you know, whatever. And she stated that when she was 23, she wasn't really dealing with it. So then she turned and asked Tokyo, how are you dealing with it? Because when I was 23, I know I wasn't. So how are you dealing and coping with it now? Of course, Tokyo isn't really dealing with it, and she doesn't know how to deal with it. Obviously, she needs counseling or something. but she's not ready to open up about it, and she stated that. And so Erica advised her, look, whenever you're ready to talk about it, then talk about it. But obviously she wasn't going to try to force it out of her. Like, that's not something you do. It's just like the other day when I was telling you guys that my mom had started to watch that video, and then the next day she was asking me about it, and I was just like, I don't want to have that conversation, you know? And that's exactly why I tell my mom, like, she's not supposed to watch my videos. She's gonna do what the fuck she wants to do. But I always tell her that she's not allowed to watch my videos because she has too many damn questions after the fact. Like, ain't nobody got time. I don't have the damn time. There's been so many times my mom will call me after I posted a video. Instead of getting straight to the point, she would be like hesitant and weird on the phone. If she asks me how I am, I know she's up to no good. Like, I already know why she's calling me, so I just get so pissed off. When you're ready to talk about it, that's when you'll talk about it. Nobody can force you to talk about it if you're not ready. But it is good to talk about it because the more you talk about it, the less it hurts. So of course Tokyo is feeling like Erica was being really genuine in that scene, and she is looking forward to getting to know Erica more. And in my personal opinion, this was the best scene that we've seen of Erica since the season began, because I have not been feeling Erica at all this season. Like, no. I usually like Erica, like on Beyond Scared, not Beyond Scared Straight, on Scared Famous, I liked Erica, but on Love and Hip Hop, I'm not really feeling her. But this scene here, like, it made me be like, okay, Erica's human, you know? Everybody else is out horseback riding, and Sierra is on this horse, and the horse took off, child. It took off with Sierra on, and she's like, get me off! Get me off! And I was dying. Oh my god. So of course production and everybody's chasing after the horse and chasing after the horse. They can't get to the damn horse fast enough because the whole entire time Sierra is just screaming at the top of her lungs to get her off the damn horse, and they're telling her to like pull so that the horse knows to stop, but that horse wasn't listening, child. And so of course, because Carly and Sierra are not on good terms, Carly was in her confessional talking shit. She was talking shit, and she was basically saying like the horse didn't like Sierra, and she's kind of glad that the horse did that. Like, what, bitch? That is a wild animal. Well, didn't nobody tell y'all to be riding no damn horses to begin with, but that's neither here nor there. So then we're gonna cut to Jock in the damn confessional talking about how watching Carly Red ride the horse was bringing back old memories. I said, you are disgusting. Like, he's gross. And then they had the nerve to be walking hand in hand, okay? Carly Red and Jock were walking hand in hand as if they were boyfriend and girlfriend. They were being filmed to have a little weak ass conversation. So in confessional, Jock is like how he is wanting to reconnect with Carly. Him and Carly are having this conversation, and she tells Jock that he hurt her the most, and Jock's like, oh, don't say that. Like, Jock is feeling bad that he hurt Carly. Out of all the guys Carly has been with, Jock is the one that hurt her the worst. So of course Carly asked for an apology party, but really she just wants apology dick. She don't want no damn apology party. She wants apology dick, and that's it. What are you doing, babe? So after this apology dick conversation, you see she's ready to freaking give her freaking opinion for Love and Hip Hop. Listen, let me tell you guys something quick about this little girl right here. Yesterday Salem was asleep, okay? It was 8 o'clock when I put her down. I was doing my thing, and then at like 10 I tried to see if the show was uploaded online. Right when I brought my laptop downstairs to watch the damn show, Salem wakes up and she is screaming her lungs out. She is screaming down the place. And so I'm trying to feed her. She don't want to eat. I'm trying to walk around with her. She don't want to walk around. She doesn't want to lay down. She doesn't want her dad. She doesn't want anything. She's pissed. So I'm like, okay, maybe she has gas. So I'm patting her back. She burps this little tiny burp, but then she still continues to scream. And I look at the time and I'm like, okay, maybe she knows that Love and Hip Hop is on, because this is around the time that I watch it every Monday. So I turn on the freaking show, and this little girl sits there and waits for me to press play, and like she's just into the show, and she's not crying, she's not making a peep, she's sitting in my lap watching the freaking show. I said, this little girl is grown. I can't deal. She doesn't need to be watching no damn corrupted ass Love and Hip Hop, but she loves Love and Hip Hop, so if we gonna keep her quiet, I mean, I ain't even mad. So Carly Red and Jock walk back to the picnic table, and Sean Garrett is looking uncomfortable AF. When I say uncomfortable, this is exactly what I mean. This is his face, and I was like, what is this uncomfortable ass smile? It was actually so funny.
If you know how I feel, why would you say that? Like, you put me in such an uncomfortable situation. Like, you know I'm not happy. You know I'm trying to see if it'll work out here, and I know that it's not.
And then when he puts on this uncomfortable smile, he also decides he's going to yell that Carly Red was looking to get rescued, and so he's done. He's glad that he dropped her off, basically, so Jock could pick her up. I said, this is messy, okay? Messy. So Jock starts telling Carly to tell them that they didn't just come from smashing at the side of the ranch. And so Carly Red's messy ass starts adjusting her pants button and acting like they really did just come from knocking boots. So in confessional, Sean says that he is not bothered at all by Carly, but he knows that she is trying to trigger him and trying to make him feel bothered, but he is basically regarding Carly as a pass-around thing. Anyway, they talk about how they're supposed to do lion dancing later, and Spice, Mimi, and Carly Red all get up and are doing some type of hold-down, hot mess dance, and I was like, please get these bitches off my damn screen now. So the next scene, Kelsey shows up to Jasmine's house because I guess she wants to meet Cannon. Before she meets Cannon, she's gonna have a conversation with Jasmine. She says to Jasmine, why did you feel it necessary to go all the way to Texas to talk to my stepmom? I say, Kelsey, why are you in grown folk business? Why are you in grown folk business? Granted, she had no business going to Texas, but it is not for Kelsey to be questioning this woman why she did what she did. Question your daddy. Ask your daddy. So Jasmine explains herself and she says, I felt I owed Rashida an apology and that's why I went. So then she also says that the last time she spoke to Kirk, he said he was going to be a part of Cannon's life, and so now she doesn't understand what the holdup is. So Kelsey tries to tell this woman she needs to be patient. You had a baby with a married man. He's probably, she said, probably at home trying to fix his family. And so Jasmine's like, but Cannon is his family. I said, girl, now you know damn well, good and damn well, exactly what Kelsey meant by his family. And Cannon was not included in the equation, even though he should be. I felt like Jasmine had a very different energy with Kelsey than she did with Rashida, as she should, because the situation has nothing to do with Kelsey. Kelsey is an extension of the situation. The issue that she had with Rashida is married to the man she had a baby with, so when Rashida's reading you for filth, you shut up and you let her read you. But if Kelsey comes over to your house, no bitch about to read me in my damn house. That's what the fuck I know. That's what I know. You're not reading me in my home, in my humble abode, okay? You're not gonna do it in my living room. You're not doing it. You're just not. And so I was so happy when she spoke up, because even when Rashida was dragging her, I was like, you should be saying that Kirk is to blame as well, but you're not. But it's okay because you've spoken a lot, you've said a lot, you've done a lot, so let Rashida have her time. But now when Kelsey's over here talking this nonsense and pointing the finger in the wrong direction, Jasmine says, listen, I did not make this baby alone. I didn't do this alone. Kirk knew he was married just as much as I did. And so Kelsey's like nodding and she agrees with this. And I said, you better fucking agree. You better agree, because you're going to be looking real stupid if you do anything but agree with that statement. Kirk knew his ass was married. End of discussion. Nonetheless, Kelsey makes it a point to say, my dad is not a deadbeat. He's not that. He will never be that. He's such a good dad to me and my siblings. But it's a tough situation and it will have to like get better with time. So Kelsey makes it a point to say, look, I didn't ask to be a part of this, but I do want to meet Cannon. And when she said this, Jasmine was shocked. Jasmine was like, oh my God. She looked shocked but happy. Kelsey said in confessional, even if her dad is not ready to be a part of Cannon's life, she's ready to be a part of his life, and that's exactly what she's gonna do. So she goes to get Cannon, and Cannon looks super excited and happy and ready to meet Kelsey. He goes right to Kelsey, and Jazz is like shocked. She says he never does that, and Jasmine looked genuinely happy to see Cannon interact with Kelsey, which I found kind of, I don't know, I found that's kind of cute, you know? She said this whole time that's all she wanted. She wanted him to have his siblings or be a part of the family, the other side of the family, and that's what she's getting ultimately. So she ain't mad. Kelsey said that after meeting Cannon, seeing him, how cute he was, just made all the drama kind of disappear for a moment, and she said that she's so in love with her new little brother. And I thought that was really sweet because bitch, I'm not that bitch. Okay, I'll tell you that right now. My father has 2 children. They are his children. He got 2 boys and I never met them. And if I never meet them, I'm Gucci. To me, Kelsey is one good motherfucking person. I'm not a good person, clearly. I think it's different for her because she has a relationship with her dad. Because I don't have a relationship with my dad, it's like, I don't need to meet your pick-me. Like, you know what I mean? But because she has a relationship with her dad, she should be meeting his other illegitimate child. In confessional, Kelsey said that Cannon has a big sister for life, and she was playing with him at Jasmine's house, and it was really, really cute. She was playing like hide and seek and tag and all kinds, okay? Jazz was cheesing really hard. So the next scene, Tiara invites Jazz over for a slumber party because Jazz has Cannon and Tiara got 5 kids. So Tiara starts telling Jasmine that the other day King was riding his bike and he didn't want to come inside to use the bathroom, so he pulled his pants down and took a dump on the neighbor's lawn. I said, bitch, what are you talking about? Why are you even sharing this information on national television? Do you know how bad that makes you look as a parent? Like, forget the child. That makes you look so bad as a parent. And she's saying it so nonchalantly, like that's not a big deal. That means your child is troubled. No child in their right mind is going to go take a shit in the neighbor's lawn. That's outrageous. Like, I was like mortified by hearing this. I'm like, honey. I would have had Salem out there with a fucking poop scoop picking that shit up, okay? Picking that shit up. You are not about to... No, honey. I just could not. I couldn't. I was so disgusted. I was like, no. I was in disbelief. Anyway, she starts talking about how she's disappointed that Scrap's not coming home soon. She starts talking about KK wanting to meet, or sorry, not wanting to meet, but wanting to see King, and how she hasn't seen him in 2 years. The same song she's been singing all damn season. So of course Jazz says, listen, that's King's grandma. At least she wants to see him, you know, let her see him. And so she says that Kirk's mother just passed away and Cannon never got to meet her, and she feels horrible about that. She's like, I want him to have his family, and she passed away. She never got to meet him. She never got to hold him. She never got to say hi. She probably didn't even know his ass existed, you know? So, of course, Tiara is still on this I'll think about it bullshit. Let the lady see the baby. Just let her see it. Like, what the hell is the... I can't. I understand where Tiara's coming from. If you're having issues with your child's father's mother or father, whoever it is, if that person's disrespecting you, I understand why you wouldn't want to send your child there if you guys aren't necessarily getting along. But you guys can come to some sort of understanding, or if you guys can level with each other and be like, okay, these are the boundaries I'm setting and you need to respect them. If you can't respect them, then it is what it is, and we won't be seeing much of each other. And if you ain't seeing me, you ain't seeing my child. You know what I mean? If there's boundaries set and both parties can respect those boundaries, then there should be no issue. And I feel like they've come to that level. I feel like Karen and Tiara have come to that level. So I was confused why Tiara was still saying, I'll think about it. At the end of the day, it's her kid. So if you're gonna disrespect the mother, you're obviously not gonna see the baby. But if you guys have already squashed that and have moved past that, then there's no reason to hold on to that and harbor that. You should want your baby daddy or your husband, whoever's mom, dad, sister, brother, uncle, to be a part of your kid's life. So we're back to the ranch now. Sierra is talking to Carly Red on the side, and she is paging her about why she took that information and went back to Spice with it. Carly tries to say she was not being messy. Bitch, yes you were. That's all you know how to do. But she said that she's learning that that's just how Tokyo speaks. Originally, when Tokyo was saying it, she was saying F you, F you, F you. You're cool, you know what I mean? But now she sees that Tokyo just speaks that way. She says that if that was how she wanted it to be relayed, then she should have just said F the whole entire situation instead of singling everybody out, and then she wouldn't have went back to Spice and said those things. So they switch topics. Sierra starts asking Carly about her dad, and Carly says she's fine about it now, and that's because she was using her dad as a crutch. She wanted the heat to come off of her so that she could deal with it at a later time and date like she is right now. So then they end up talking about how BK was acting, and Carly Red is not a fan of BK at all. Sierra was like, oh my gosh, like she knows that BK was acting absolutely insane and he was in women business and he had no business being in women business. So Carly Red says to Sierra, look, I don't want to be in the middle of y'all shit, but if I have to, I will be. And Carly Red keeps making it a point to say that BK is sleeping with the whole of Atlanta and he got 4 kids and all kinds, but he said he only has 2 kids, so I don't know, honey. While they're talking, of course, BK comes to interrupt them, and he steals Sierra and brings her off to the side. And Carly's like, go ahead. Oh, this part, I was like, what in the Dollarama is going on here? Because BK had it set up outside where it said, I heart you, with candles, and then the heart was like, it had candles around it, but it was made out of like roses. I don't know if they were real roses or fake roses, but it looked ghetto, a hot ghetto mess. And so he's showing all this to Sierra, and he's basically like, I love you, I love you. And she's just like, how he got her effed up, and he was really trying to get back onto her good side. He asked her about the divorce or whatever, and she says that the divorce papers are there, but they're still not signed. And I'm like, what is this bitch waiting for? Like, are you planning on getting back with BB Gun? Just say so if you are, because why do you have these papers drawn up that you say that you drew up, but you haven't signed them? I don't understand. So BK says to her, look, once you sign those papers, then we can hopefully move on with what we have going on. He's really trying to keep it locked with her. And so a couple people are saying that he's an opportunist and he's just using her to stay on the show, and that's why he was calling bitches and hoes last week and rate-a-tay-tay-tay. And I can sort of see that, because without Sierra, he has no purpose on the show. Like, he won't make it back next season. And of course, Sierra says to him, we'll see. Inside, Spice is teaching these white folk how to twerk, child. I said, no, baby. And how to whine. I said, no. I said, no. I'm not even going to say what they look like. I just said, no. It's not acceptable. Unacceptable. Unacceptable! Anyway, I love KK. I love Miss Karen King. She's so funny. She thought she was a hot gal in her freaking exercise gear. She met up with Sass at the park. Sass is Scrap's brother. I don't remember what they were talking about, but she was saying to him, whatever God has in store for her, she's accepting that. She starts telling him that everything she's done illegal and illegally to secure her family, she's done it, it's done, and that's what she did so that they didn't have to do it. And she doesn't want her sons to be savages. That's what she said. Those are her words. Savages was what she used. I think I understand what she's saying. I don't know what Sass does for a living, honey. I don't know if he sells, like, Scrap is in jail for drugs right now, so they savages. Anyway, Sass ends up surprising her with King and her other grandson at the park. And of course, Karen's really emotional. She's crying because she hasn't seen King in 2 years. And she hugs him up and she's spinning him around. She hugs up her other grandson. She's spinning him around.
Watch her brace for him back.
She's overjoyed and she's crying. Say.
She's gonna have a really hard time downstairs. She doesn't want nothing to do with nothing.
She's happy to be with her grandchildren. So the next scene, Sierra woke up next to damn BK. I said, bitch, what is going on? Everybody is in confessional giving their little monologues like Morgan motherfucking Freeman in this bitch. And I'm just like, okay, all right. And at the end of this freaking monologue adventure, Jock had stated that even Kirk and Rashida decided that they were going to take a later flight and that they stayed behind. This camera went and panned in on motherfucking Kirk and Rashida in the same bed, like I said, because I know they slept in the same, they've been sleeping in the same bed. From the time his ass moved back into the house and she taped that shit up, I knew that they were sleeping in the same bed. So at the ranch, of course they're gonna be sleeping in the same bed. She didn't sleep in the fucking bunk bed. Anyway, she's in the bed with Kirk. Kirk is waking up and kissing this lady on her damn cheek. I said, no, bitch. I said, no. So we are at the last and final scene. And Tommy says that the show is making her look like an alcoholic. So once again, she's in denial. So she says because the show is doing this, she's decided that she's going to show up sober AF to this meeting with her mom. Because at the end of the day, the last thing she's trying to do is fuck her bag up. She's trying to collect the bag, okay? Not fumble it, okay? She's trying to flip the bag and tumble it. Tumble? I get the bag and flip it and tumble it. Yeah. Yeah. She is trying to flip the bag and tumble it. She ain't trying to fumble it, okay? So her and her mom made up, and her mom says Versace's coming to this meeting. And first Tommy's face is kind of hesitant, but then she says she's happy that she's coming because she doesn't want to argue with her sister anymore. She doesn't want to beef with her sister. Life's short kind of thing. Let's hash this out. So Versace comes. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, you look so pretty. You look so pretty. No, you look so pretty. They're all complimenting each other. And then right away, Tommy starts voicing her opinion to Versace. And so this is how you can tell when Tommy's sober versus when she's not, because she is level-headed when she's sober. Anyway, her and Sachi start talking, and once they talk it out and Tommy says how she feels, Versace apologizes, and that was that. So Tommy starts telling them about her meeting with Joe, and she also tells them about the Rashida thing as well. Her and her mom both agree that the whole situation is embarrassing for them. So Tommy turns to her mom and she asks her if she feels as though she's an alcoholic. And her mom says, you know what? Yeah, sometimes I do feel that way. Sometimes when I can't get out of bed without having a drink, I feel like I'm an alcoholic. And she also states that alcoholism has taken a lot of their family members. So that's the word a lot to me is more than 3, okay? 1 is too many. So if it's a lot, it's 2 or more, 3 plus. And if that is an ongoing pattern in your family, then you have to watch yourself when it comes to drinking. And not only when it comes to drinking, but any kind of substance abuse. Because alcohol may be your vice, but if addiction just runs in your family, period, somebody else's addiction could be coke, somebody else's is crack cocaine, somebody's is prescription stuff. It's just a bunch of different things. So Samantha, her mom, says that she told herself that she would quit drinking if ever it started to cause her pain, which it did, and so she stopped drinking. She tells the girls that she went to the doctor and they ran some tests and she's waiting for her results, but it's looking like it may be serious. My bet is on liver disease because the alcohol affects the liver directly, so, but you never know. Sam is trying to stay positive, and she didn't want to tell the girls or any of her other kids any of this information to begin with because she didn't want them to be worried. And I think that's a lot of parents. If your parent is sick, I think it's hard for them to tell the kids, and a lot of parents will keep it on the hush hush for too long. And that's exactly what happened with Samantha, because she actually has been sick for a while and she never brought it up until it got really bad. So because of all this now, Tommy's in confessional bawling her eyes out, and she says she just feels so stupid for them arguing about the petty shit and just taking or wasting so much time on nonsense when there's real life stuff going on. By the end of their conversation, they were all exchanging I love yous, and that was basically that. And so I think next week is the finale or the week after, but child, I'm ready for this damn show to be over with. Like, I can't deal anymore. I believe the next show after this that I will be doing reviews for is Power. So if you don't watch Power, bitch, get your life, because what are you doing not watching Power? We're on season 5 or 6?
Season 5.
I think season 5 of Power. And holy shit. So the shows that I watch throughout the week that we don't get in Canada, I watch them on a website that I will link in the description box. For Power, I stream the show on a different website, and so once Power comes out, I'll put the link in the description box as well for how I watch that. Girl, honey, Power is the shit. If you haven't watched season 1 to 4, get your life together. Binge watch that shit. Take a week off work, bitch, and watch that so that when I do start reviewing Power, you're up to date. Power is a really, really, really good show. It's one of my favorite shows. I would love to do Queen of the South and all that, but I ain't got time, honey. I can only do one show at a time because I get really stressed taking my notes and stuff. Like, I'm like, oh my god, no, I can't. But I'm super excited to do Power. And yeah, that's it for this week. I'm gonna wipe this damn makeup off and take my ass to bed. But I love you all, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.